Us has opened a bag of chips just to have a few, then found ourselves devouring the whole bag for no apparent reason, Larry. Except there is a reason. The processed food industry has worked hard to figure out how to exploit our instincts. That's part of what Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Michael Moss outlines in his new book.
The book is called Hooked: Food, Free Will, and How the Food Giants Exploit Our Addictions. And Michael joins us this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you.
So is this different than I like chips and sweets and my brain lights up? Are you saying that they're making it addictive like cigarettes?
Yeah, I mean, we had this conversation 5 years ago, and you suggested to me that Twinkies or Oreos or much of the stuff in the supermarket can be as addictive as heroin. I would have thought, like, that's like totally nuts. But there's little doubt now that these products, for many people, even in some ways, are even more addictive than cigarettes, alcohol, drugs. And the reason is that the companies have figured out how to tap our own basic instincts that draw us to food to make their products not only yummy and make us want them, but to want more and more of them.
So what are they putting, when you talk about these processed foods, are they adding something they shouldn't be adding? I mean, people like sweets or they like salt. What are they doing differently?
Yeah, so I used to think it was salt, sugar, fat. And the first book I wrote 8 years ago was focused on those three ingredients as these tools that the companies use. But it's kind of the things that aren't on the label. We, by nature, love food that's inexpensive. And so the food companies use chemical laboratories to reformulate the ingredients just to like knock 10 cents off the box of a frozen breakfast pastry, knowing that our brain will get really excited about that. We love, by nature, variety. It's why, sort of historically, we were able to spread around the globe and get excited about things like whale blubber if we were living in that area. And so that's why you go into the cereal aisle and there's 200 different varieties of sugary starch. And mostly we love calories. We have sensors in the gut, possibly in the mouth, that tell us how many calories we're getting. And for most of our history, getting as much calories was life or death. It enabled us to put on body fat, brains to grow, get through hard times. But what's happened in the past 50 years is the food industry has changed the nature of their food so dramatically that they've made overeating an everyday thing.
Are they doing something that's illegal or perhaps should be illegal? And if so, who is the person who is watching? Is it the FDA?
Well, you know, I was shocked. I mean, so many ways this industry is more powerful than the government regulators that are supposedly there controlling them on our behalf. It's not illegal. They're just really good at what they do. They have chemists and psychologists and marketing officials. They know how to hit those emotional buttons in us that drive us to eat, even when we're not hungry.
So does dieting work? Does just cutting certain foods out? What do you recommend to people who might, say that I'm addicted to whatever?
Yeah, no, I was really surprised to learn that many of these companies bought up some of our favorite dieting methods, including Weight Watchers and Atkins and South Beach Diet. So I think for a lot of people, it's tempting to diet, but to draw a lesson from drugs, it's really hard to abstain from food. You just can't stop eating, right? One of the things, though, I love going forward is to try to turn the tables on the food companies in our house. And this is just a small thing. But, we've moved, I have two boys, we've moved from drinking sugary soda to plain seltzer because the bubbles in the seltzer excite the brain almost as much as the sugar does. And I love this idea of sort of taking back things that the industry has taken from us and reclaiming them for us to help us revalue how we think about food instead of having them sort of tell us what we should value and what we eat.
So yeah, you don't have to be a scientist to know that the obesity rates in America are higher than other countries, and that weighs on healthcare costs. So should the government be doing something?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, as a journalist, I'm sort of neutral in that, but I was really struck how the former CEO, Philip Morris, who used to be one of the biggest processed food manufacturers in North America, said to me, Michael, I'm no fan of government intervention, but you have to realize that the food industry, grocery industry, is so fiercely competitive for space on the shelf, for a share of our stomach. that it may behoove us to have a little government intervention to help us do the right thing. Because I really believe that people inside these giant food companies want to do the right thing if they can only sort of figure out how to do it without losing market share.
Well, it's fascinating. The book is called Hooked: Food, Free Will, and How the Food Giants Exploit Our Addictions. Michael, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you both so much for having me.